We bring in the Hall of Fame owner and general manager on Shan and RJ. Good morning, Jerry. How are you?
Hey, guys. Shan, RJ, Bobby. It's good to be on with you. I guess we've got the 36-hour rule, however many hours it's been since Philadelphia. But that was a disappointing deal.
Yeah, Jerry, if you could just give us your overall thoughts on the game.
Well, I would like to say this. We really, really had some players play well yesterday. The standout, of course, was Dak. Sunday. Standout was Dak. And he played so well. And the very things about him that makes him play well, and that is trying to get in he'll take it down, go to a play action mode pretty quick, but then he wants to keep it alive. So when we see him holding that ball, he's trying to get it down to get in some movable room, and in between there is where it looks like he's holding that ball a little long. A couple I saw where a couple people thought he held it a little long, and maybe so. I don't know about that, but it's holding it long that makes him such a threat. And we've got to be careful about being too critical of Steele. Steele is coming back. You got to help those guys a little bit when you're getting that kind of onslaught. But bottom line, I guess I'm going to the same thing everybody else is, and that is we played a tough team. We had a chance to beat them. That's a lot of what you can ask for when you got a chance at the end to beat them, and we sure had it. And so hats off against a team like Philadelphia. I'd like to be where we were with the last 30 seconds of that ball game. I'd like to be there every time against the Philadelphia. We'll get a lot of them.
Do you believe in moral victories? And was this one?
No, not at this juncture. These are we played well. We had some things we'd like to take back. Defense, I saw where Dan talked about the third down on a few of those possessions. We couldn't get them out, but boy, we got them out when it counted down near the end. And Dak will have that ball in the end zone on offense. He'll have it in there when he stepped out of bounds. He'll have that in there. Our tight ends will be in there in the end zone more times than not. Hard way to go, but it was some of the very same thing that the game was about that got us in a position to do that at the end. That is what we got, a couple of big plays. Great plays, really. Plus, we got some breaks on a couple of penalties. There we were. You can win it. That's what's going to happen when you're playing the best in the NFL.
Jerry, how do you, reconcile a lot of the really good you've seen throughout this season from your team in a lot of these games with the fact that against these two biggest tests that you've had, Philadelphia and San Francisco, the team has fallen short?
Well, I guess reconcile, or I think about it, a part of every day. And I look at all 32 teams, and I look at very carefully, and I look at them all the time, and I look at where they are, and I look at where we are, and I don't look 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Those teams and not players were not a part of this in terms of other than the great contribution they made for us to have the legacy and have the history of the Cowboys that we have. I look at that practice squad today, not 5 years ago squad, but today. And you have to think that way, and you're constantly trying to see if you can improve it on a daily basis. Improving it now is also adjusting on the backside because we've got just so many checks. It's called a salary cap. So you only have so many items to call money to put out there, and you've got to use it that it goes the farthest in helping you win a game. And so when you ask me what I look at, I must tell you that it's disappointed, and I was about as disappointed as you could imagine 5 minutes after the game. Right at the end of the game, it really hadn't dawned on me how close we came to winning the game, although I was watching every play. But still, when it really dawned on me what we'd had a chance to do and missed it, then that all those kind of emotions we all have set in. But then later, and of course, as I look at it yesterday and today, I'll take, I don't like it, but I'll take where we are right now as a chance to get where we want to go this year, and that would be to the top game.
Jerry Jones here on 105.3 The Fan. So, Jerry, you talked about getting down there that close, and then in 22 seconds, y'all went backwards 21 yards. Give us your thoughts on that final drive sequence.
Well, taking a sack, getting hit, we all know what Dak was trying to do, make that play. Getting hit right there was the key play. And the clock had to run. We had to put an urgent we had to have a lot of urgency, a lot of get set fast, got the play off, did do that. We couldn't quite, obviously we all know, couldn't quite make it. That was the key play. Not the play I actually liked to call on the draw right before that. I thought that was a good call, and we had the time on the clock to do it. But it had to be precision. We work on that every practice almost. That time, that area, that rush up, that's constantly worked on by that very people. And you had a guy in Dak Prescott with all these years of experience executing it for you. It'll happen right for you most of the time.
Jerry, there were a few plays this game. Schoonmaker, his route running a little bit short of the goal line, delay of game late, Dak maybe running out of bounds there, not challenging the spot. Those are all little details. Is there an attention to detail issue, problem with the team right now?
No. Just flat no. Those were minute. He gets stopped 2 feet short of the goal line. We're not worried about detail, are we? Yes, we are, but I'm just saying we're not making it. Dak doesn't even try to get in the end zone, throws it, and it bounces off somebody. We're not talking about Dak. How many times have we seen Dak get in that end zone? I've never seen him step out of bounds once. And so he's been practicing that a long time. And so firsthand, everybody know that detail is practiced on arduously.
Jerry, when a guy like Terence Steele struggles, you reference that, and obviously Mike McCarthy had talked about him coming off of the injury and still working back from that. What is it that you want to hear from the coaches in the meetings about solutions to that? Is it getting more help for Terence Steele? Is it just getting the reps back coming off of the injury? What is it that you'd like to hear from them on that?
I don't have to hear it. I know that when we are trying, the way to get him help limits. We all know that. It limits your offense by a man when you're adding some additional help to it. When you're trying to scheme that up, you're going short someplace. And so their strength in my mind is their defensive line. They've got a good team, but their strength is their defensive line. So you can second guess leaving him on an island, but I'm going to use that term. I don't really think he's on an island, but he did struggle, but I'm glad we've got him. And to balance that, of course, we know what Tyron Smith did over there, which is just unbelievable, not to practice anymore, but shows who he is. And then we had good play all the way down the rest of the way there, Smith and our Baez and of course, Martin. So our offensive line were against the toughest challenge that Philadelphia has, and that's their defensive line.
Jerry Jones here on Shan and RJ. No doubt Philly's defensive line, very respectable. But it feels like for the season now, Jerry, the run game with the offensive line is a legit problem for you guys. Is that fair? And how do you get out of this? Because it feels like it's a week-to-week thing now.
Yeah, well, I think you can throw them out of it. You can throw them out of it, and I thought we were doing a pretty doggone good job out there Sunday.
Yeah.
But you can back them off, and I don't know how it's going to work out, but we're working out a receiver out here today that's got quite a story behind him, but and I don't know how we will impact that. I do know that within that we've got plenty of upside, serious upside. And with the guys that we've got on the team, we can get more out of really all three of our other receivers other than Lamb, and we can, and they can.
Jerry, Jerry, on about half of the drives to open games this year, the pattern has been run, throw the ball. In most of those instances, it's led to 3 and outs. At what point does an attempt to establish the run just become counterproductive, and you just got to say, hey, we've got to go with what's been successful for us, which is throwing the ball?
I don't know how to put a specific thing out there. I like the way we came out throwing the week before against the Rams, and we're persistent with that after getting sacked or partially sacked the first 3 plays. And so there's one case where we didn't do that, and we came out throwing. And that's the art of the deal. I really like the guy we've got out there, Mike McCarthy. I like Schottenheimer. I like those guys putting that question to the defense when we come out. You'd like to get those first downs early. We do better when we get the first downs early, but teams like Philadelphia do too, and they got theirs early and drove it on down. And so the point is that I do not have the answer of, well, we just need to throw more or we need to run more. Now, as to blocking them up, your opponent has a lot to do with that. And like I told you, I thought our offensive line, even though Steele had a tough day out there, and those were a lot of pressures on Dak. I think I saw where that's the most pressures we've had on him. Just shows again what kind of game he played. It was outstanding, the game that he played. We should be able to get there if Dak will play games like that. Now, I know that's maybe a little different thing to hear from me, but if Dak can have those kinds of games, we can, I think, get where we want to be this year.
He was absolutely incredible, no doubt about it. I'm curious, Jerry, how the offensive adjustment kind of works with Dak using his legs to throw. I mean, the third down conversions, the playmaking ability, that is not within the Mike McCarthy 3-step, 5-step West Coast that we were preparing ourselves for. So how do you guys weigh Dak playing that great while running around versus McCarthy's base offense?
We let Dak's experience, instinct, desire, his ability, that rules the day on when you do that and when you don't. But possibly they've worked on the timing of that. In other words, make that decision a little quicker as to when you're going to pull it down. But we'll benefit from that. He's real unique and has a real propensity to be as solid as he is in his thinking about protecting the ball. He's got a real skill there in when to throw and when to go.
Jerry, we know that identity is a buzzword, but Mike has not been shy about saying, look, this is a defense-first team. We're going to run the football. Has Dak's recent play made you reconsider what the identity should be in terms of throw first instead of defense leads the way with the run game?
You know, to me, those are good terms for us all to be able to communicate and for clarity. Really, what you want is balance. Mm-hmm. And you'd like for people to say, boy, they can effectively go on long drives, make third downs, make them, and that be the team that they are. I think we're very capable of having an explosive offense, very. And we are probably more capable than any time that I can remember of having a tremendous defense. We're very capable, and we do. And those stops that we made in the last part of that game, last third of that game the other day, were picture book for me. And so I like the balance. And when we say identity, I don't know how you can keep your eyes off a guy like Dak or a guy off like Lamb on offense. The kind of line, frankly, our offensive line, which always is under the microscope. I like that. I like when you look over at that defense and you see that Hooker, you see that, you see Parsons, you see, I don't want to leave anybody out, Lawrence, Hosa, those guys, those linebackers, those young guys coming in the words. I like our identity, and I like both of them, and I think we've got to have top on both sides.
Jerry, Brandin Cooks, he 6 of the last 8 years he's gone over 1,000 yards. He's on pace for career lows and yards per catch. Halfway through, do you think maybe he's a bad fit for the scheme?
No, I think he's an incremental. I think he's indispensable because he gives us that speed receiver, but he gives us an outstanding receiver as well as the speed. And we need that. What we've got is we've got a guy named Ferguson that's coming on. We've got other tight ends out there that we want to get the ball to. We want to get the ball to Pollard. We're not. I don't think anybody's satisfied that Pollard gets enough touches. And then, of course, we want Dak to not only make decisions in the passing game, but we'd like to see him tuck it down a few times. And you get my drift here. We're running out of places, and then you got Lamb. You run 60, 70 plays a ball game, you run out of balls.
Jerry, yesterday, Coach was asked about Cooks. He said, we play to the discipline of the quarterback and the training of the quarterback. What does that mean?
Well, it means that something that if you think about it, we've always known. Unless the quarterback throws the ball to you, you can't have a reception. And I'm being cute now. But you've got to get the attempts. And so when you say you play to the beat of the quarterback, you play to the beat of what, in his judgment, where the ball needs to go. And if it's designed, and I don't know of any plays that are designed out there for nobody, the tight end or the receivers to not get the ball. I don't know of one. I do know that their alignment when they line up will dictate, and the way Mike's doing it, will dictate what part of the field they're going to end up in. And that'll show preference with your quarterbacks. But beyond that, we want them all to get the catches. But I will say this, we sure are, we do well when Lamb gets a lot of catches.
We're talking with Jerry Jones here on 105 Through the Fan. Jerry, Michael Gallup had a big drop in the second quarter, and then coming out in the third quarter, he was not in on that first drive. It was a lot of Jalen Tolbert, Kevontae Turpin. It looks like Jalen Tolbert's starting to get more opportunities in the offense. Would you like to see those snaps shared a little bit closely there between Gallup and Tolbert?
It's just a great feeling. A great feeling. We're working a receiver out today, but it's a great feeling to see Tolbert coming on, both in the games and at practice. Gallup unquestionably is having to evolve back from his injury. And so we're seeing that, and that's both physical and mental. But we're seeing him do some of the things that we really like about Gallup. And so I really like where we are at this stage in this season with the potential we've got of expanding the success of our receiving corps. And then I think we've got some stuff with Pollard that could get even more interesting in terms of, and I like what Turpin is doing out there. We've got ways to move the football in my mind as to our talent level.
Jerry, you mentioned the injury recovery for Steele and Gallup. I'm wondering, does the same thing apply to Tony Pollard? Many think the same exact explosion is not there with him coming off of his injury and recovery. Do you see that? Does the same thing apply, injury recovery, to Pollard and his explosion?
I'm not seeing it at all, and I don't hear it from any trainers. I don't hear it from any coaches. We have those guys. Every player, you can time their speed now as they're running their plays. Mm-hmm. You don't see it in that, or you don't see the explosion, or you don't see the burst. You don't see a problem there relative to where he's been.
Jerry, last one for you. I don't know what you wore for Halloween, so this leads into whether you were okay with the officiating on Sunday in Philly.
Listen, I think it went both ways. They had some that hurt them. We did too. Really, the Rams did the week before. And so without digging down into a certain area that needs to be emphasized or de-emphasized, which my comment there is get in line. Every club in the league has a foot-long list of things that we could do to improve officiating. But in general, we've taken the instant replay. But I think instant replay is very, very good compared to when we didn't have it. And that was a long time ago. Because I've seen instant replay overturned on Monday so many times with the cameras saying do it this way on Sunday. There's nothing perfect about this. I think it's better than not having it. But the facts are that I've spent a lot of my life in games that whether he was out of bounds or not, dropped it or not, or whether he got a hand on the helmet of the quarterback or not, the guy that called it decided that, whether it was on there or not, the official. And everybody agreed to live with that. And there is no bias in officiating, in my mind. A lot of coaches would take exception to that, but I don't. And so there's a lot of me that always wanted, like the plate umpire. One said, look, when it comes across that deal, if it hits a corner, it's in between those shoulders and knees, hits a corner, strike. The other one said, I get it. They'd all called it for 30 years. The other one says, you know how I call them? When it comes across that plate or when it comes past that batter, it's what I call it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And the people lived with that because we all agreed that we would live to it, whether it's against us or not against us. There's a lot of that, especially away from the ball, away from the meaningful parts of the game. Now, we could go all day long on this, and I'm not going to do that to you. I like it, but I prefer the instant replay. Our fans love it. Our fans love it. Every time we've ever done any kind of poll or anything regarding fans, it's an integral part of the entertainment of the game.
Jerry, you always show up and answer all the questions. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time, as always. Jerry,
okay, talk to you later.
Jerry
Bye-bye.
Jones, brought to you by Ford, built for Texas, built for you.